Thursday afternoon, 3:47 p.m. My daughter climbed into the back seat of her father's car. She buckled her seatbelt. She looked down, and she found something wedged between the seat cushions. Small, pink, elastic. A hair tie. She picked it up. She turned it over in her fingers. She didn't think anything of it. She was 8 years old. She brought it home. She held it out to me with a smile that I will remember for the rest of my life. Open, innocent, completely unaware. She said, "Mom, look what I found in Daddy's car. It's so pretty, but it would hurt my hair. Is it yours?" I looked at the hair tie, pink elastic, and caught in the elastic 3 strands of hair, yellow hair. I have dark brown hair. My daughter has dark brown hair. My husband has dark hair. The hair on that pink hair tie was yellow, pale blonde, and I knew immediately, completely, with a certainty that arrived before any conscious thought, exactly whose hair it was. My name is Maya Reeves. I'm 31 years old, and my 8-year-old daughter handed me the end of my marriage on a Thursday afternoon without knowing that's what she was doing. My name is Maya Reeves. I'm 31 years old. I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, the part of the city that most people who visit Nashville never see, away from the honky-tonks and the bachelorette parties and the version of the city that exists for tourists. The residential neighborhoods, the schools, the specific texture of a southern city that is also, quietly, a real place where people live their ordinary lives. I have dark brown hair, almost black in certain lights. It has been this color since I was born and will presumably be this color or some silver-threaded version of it for the rest of my life. My mother has the same hair. My grandmother has the same hair. It is simply what we are. My husband's name is Daniel Reeves. He's 34. He works in music production, the behind-the-scenes kind, the industry infrastructure, not the performing. He was good at his job. Nashville is, beneath its tourist surface, a genuine music industry city, and Daniel had built something real in the course of the 10 years he'd been working. We met at 24 and 27, a mutual friends gathering, the kind that Nashville has constantly, the specific social world of people who work in the music industry and its orbit. Daniel was charming in the way of someone who has spent years in rooms where charm is currency. He was funny. He was attentive in the particular way that makes a person feel when they are in conversation with him like they are the only person in the room. I had been charmed. We dated for 2 years. We got married at 26. Our daughter Lily was born the following year. She's 8 now. She has my hair, dark brown, thick, the kind that takes a long time to dry after a bath, and that she wears in 2 braids most days because that is what she prefers. And I have learned in 8 years of being her mother that Lily's preferences are worth respecting. She found the hair tie on a Thursday afternoon. She handed it to me, and in the space between her handing it to me and my first word of response, I understood something that changed everything. I need to tell you about Sophie. Sophie Reeves is Daniel's cousin. She's 28, 3 years younger than me. She grew up in Memphis, moved to Nashville 4 years ago, and had been in the years since a regular presence in our lives. Family dinners, holiday gatherings, the occasional weekend when she visited and stayed in our guest room. She is blonde, pale blonde, the specific shade that photographs almost white in certain light, long hair, usually worn down or in a loose ponytail. I had always liked Sophie. That is the thing I keep coming back to. I had always genuinely liked her. She was warm and easy to be around. She had a good relationship with Lily. Lily called her Aunt Sophie, even though technically she wasn't, because Lily was 4 when Sophie moved to Nashville, and 4-year-olds don't parse the distinction between aunt and cousin. Sophie and Lily had a specific bond. Sophie was good with children, patient, playful, genuinely interested. She taught Lily to braid her doll's hair once. She sent Lily cards on her birthday with small gifts that she had clearly thought about. She had been at our wedding. She had been at the hospital when Lily was born. She had sat in the waiting room while I was in labor and had been, Daniel told me later, the one who kept him calm while he was waiting. She had been at the hospital when my daughter was born. I looked at the pale blonde hair on a pink elastic, and I knew. I want to tell you about the moment, the specific 10 seconds between Lily handing me the hair tie and my first word in response, because it is the moment I have thought about most in the time since. In those 10 seconds, I experienced something that I can only describe as a kind of crystallization, the way water becomes ice, not gradually, but at a threshold, all at once, the molecular structure reorganizing into something completely different from what it was a moment before. Before the hair tie, a Thursday afternoon, a daughter home from school, a husband who would be home by 6:30, dinner to make, a life that was, as I understood it, mine. After the hair tie, the same Thursday afternoon, the same daughter, the same dinner to make, but the life, the understanding of the life, completely different, reorganized at the molecular level into something that had a different structure than I had believed it had. 10 seconds. I looked at the hair tie. I looked at Lily. She was watching me with the specific, curious attention of an 8-year-old who has asked a question and is waiting for an answer. "It's not mine, baby," I said. My voice was entirely normal. I do not know how. "Oh," Lily said. She took it back, examined it again. "It's really pretty, though. Can I keep it?" "Sure," I said. She put it in her pocket and went to find her backpack. I stood in the kitchen. I stood there for a long time. Then I went to my phone. I did not call Daniel. I did not call Sophie. I called my sister.
My sister's name is Rachel. She is 34, 3 years older than me, the kind of sister who has been both my closest friend and my most honest critic for my entire life. She lives 12 minutes away in a house she has owned for 4 years with a husband named Marcus and a 7-year-old named Jonah, who is Lily's best friend. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, what's up?" "Rachel," I said, "I need you to come over." A pause. Sisters know. "On my way," she said. "Give me 15 minutes." She was there in 12. She came in, looked at my face, said nothing, and sat down at the kitchen table. I put the hair tie on the table between us. She looked at it. "Where did this come from?" I said. "Lily found it. In Daniel's car, between the seat cushions." Rachel looked at the pale blonde hair caught in the elastic. She looked up at me. "Sophie," she said. Not a question. "Sophie," I said. We sat there for a moment. "How long do you think?" Rachel said. "I don't know. I don't know anything except what I'm looking at." "What do you want to do?" I had been thinking about this for the 12 minutes between calling her and her arrival. "I'm leaving tonight," I said. "I'm taking Lily and I'm leaving tonight." Rachel looked at me. "Tonight?" she said. "I'm not going to have the conversation. I'm not going to sit across from him and watch him explain it. I can't. I don't want to watch him explain it. I just want to leave." "Maya." "Rachel, I know what I need. I need to not be in this house when he comes home." A long pause. "Okay," Rachel said. "Then we pack." We had 2 hours. Daniel came home at 6:30 most evenings. It was 4:15. We had 2 hours and 15 minutes to pack what I needed for myself and for Lily and get out of the house before he pulled into the driveway. Lily was in her room. She did not know what was happening. I had told her, carefully, calmly, in the voice I need when I need her to understand something without being frightened, that we were going to stay at Aunt Rachel's for a few days, a sleepover. She had been pleased. Lily loved sleepovers at Rachel's. Jonah was there. They would stay up too late and eat too much cereal, and it would be, for Lily, a good thing. While Lily packed her own bag, with the specific, serious attention of an 8-year-old entrusted with an important task, Rachel helped me pack mine. We worked quickly. We did not talk much. There was nothing to say that needed saying. I packed clothes, documents, the ones that belonged to me rather than to us, my laptop, Lily's medications, the specific things a person takes when they are leaving a house and do not know when they will come back. At 6:05, we were in Rachel's car. Lily was in the back seat. She was telling Jonah, via text, that she was coming over. I looked at the house through the passenger window as we pulled away. The house where we had lived for 3 years, the garden in the back that I had planted, the kitchen with the morning light. I looked at it for as long as I could see it. Then we turned the corner, and it was gone.
Daniel called at 6:47. He had come home to an empty house. I was at Rachel's kitchen table. Lily and Jonah were in Jonah's room. Rachel was making dinner, the specific normalcy of someone who understands that children need to eat regardless of what is happening around them. I looked at Daniel's name on the screen. I answered. "Hey," he said. "Where are you? You guys at Rachel's?" "Yes," I said. "Is everything okay? You didn't text." "Daniel," I said, "Lily found a hair tie in your car today." Silence. Complete silence. The specific silence of someone who has just had a floor fall out from under them. Maya, pink elastic, pale blonde hair. More silence. "I'm not going to ask you to explain it. I'm not interested in the explanation. I'm calling to tell you that I know, and that Lily and I are staying in Rachel's, and that on Monday I'm calling an attorney." "Please," he said, can you come home and we can talk?" "No," I said. "Daniel, I need you to explain." "I don't need you to," I said. "I need you to understand that this is over. That's all. That's the only thing I need from this call." A long pause. "How did—" He stopped. Started again. "Lily found it." I said she handed it to me. She asked if it was mine. He made a sound that I am not going to describe. "I have to go," I said. "Lily needs dinner." I hung up. Rachel put a plate in front of me. I ate dinner. I called an attorney on Monday morning. Her name was Patricia Fields. She had been recommended by a colleague, someone who had gone through her own divorce 2 years ago, and who had told me, in the time, in the specific way that people share information they hope you'll never need, that Patricia was thorough and efficient and did not allow her clients to make decisions from panic that they would regret later. I was not making decisions from panic. What I had made in the 48 hours between Thursday afternoon and Monday morning was the kind of decision that arrives not from impulse, but from the sudden, total clarity of someone who has been handed a piece of information so unambiguous that there is no alternative interpretation to reach for. The hair tie was not ambiguous. Sophie's hair was not ambiguous. What they meant was not ambiguous. I did not need to investigate further. I did not need to set up a meeting with Daniel and sit across from him and watch him construct an explanation. I had spent the weekend at Rachel's, watching Lily and Jonah be children together, eating Rachel's food, sleeping in Rachel's guest room, and had arrived at Monday morning with the specific, settled certainty of someone who has already made the decision and now is executing it. Patricia listened to what I told her. She did not ask many questions. "You're clear about what you want?" "Yes," I said. "The house?" "We bought it together. I want what I'm entitled to." "Primary custody?" "Lily stays with me. Daniel can be in her life. He's her father, and she loves him, and I'm not going to take that from her. But she comes home with me." "All right," Patricia said. "Then let's get started."
The part of this story that I find hardest to tell, harder in some ways than the hair tie itself, is Sophie. I have known Sophie for 5 years. I have known Sophie as Daniel's cousin, as a person who came to my wedding and sat in a hospital waiting room while I was in labor, as someone who braided Lily's doll's hair and sent birthday cards with thoughtful gifts. I have known Sophie as someone I considered, if not a close friend, then something adjacent to it, a trusted person, a family person.
On Saturday morning, 2 days after Thursday, while Lily was at the park with Rachel and Jonah, I called her. She answered. I want to be precise about why I called her and what I wanted from the call, because I think people might expect a different reason than the actual one. I did not call Sophie to confront her. I did not call her to express anger or to cause her pain, or to hear her apologize. I called her because I had known her for 5 years, and she was going to find out that I knew and that I wanted to be the one who told her, in my own words, on my own terms, before anything else happened. That is all. Maya, she said. She knew from my voice, from the fact of the call on a Saturday morning, that something had changed. Hi, Sophie, I said. Silence. I know, I said. I'm not going to ask you anything. I'm not going to say things I'll regret. I just wanted you to know that I know, and that I called an attorney on Monday, and that Daniel and I are done. A long silence. Maya, Don't, I said. Not unkindly, just clearly. Please don't. I don't need it right now. Okay, she said, very quietly. Lily, I said. Whatever happened between you and Daniel, Lily called you Aunt Sophie. She made you a card last Mother's Day because she wanted to. I need you to think about that. Sophie didn't say anything. That's all, I said. Take care of yourself. I hung up. I sat with the phone in my hand for a moment. Then I went to meet Rachel and the kids at the park.
Daniel did not make the divorce difficult. I think, and this is my reading of him from 8 years of knowing him, that he was too ashamed to make it difficult. That the specific thing that had happened, the way it had been found, had stripped away whatever defensive architecture he might otherwise have been able to construct. A hair tie, found by his 8-year-old daughter, handed to his wife with a question about whether it was hers. There is no version of that story that he could have made easier for himself. There is no defense available. There is no explanation that addresses the fundamental fact of how it came to light. He did not fight me on the house. He did not fight me on primary custody. He asked through his attorney for generous visitation, weekends, holidays, the summers when Lily was older. Patricia reviewed the proposal and told me it was reasonable. I agreed to it. Because Lily loves her father. Because she will always love her father. Because whatever Daniel did to me does not change what he is to her. And I was not going to let my anger about what he did make decisions that would affect her for years. That was the hardest part of all of it, holding those two things simultaneously. The anger, real, enormous, present, and the knowledge that Lily's relationship with her father was not mine to damage. I held both. Barely, sometimes, but I held them. The divorce was finalized 4 months after that Thursday afternoon. 4 months. It went quickly, in the way divorces go quickly when neither party has the heart or the grounds to fight. On the day the papers were signed, I drove to Rachel's house. Not because I needed to tell her anything, she already knew everything, had been present for every step of it, just because I needed to be somewhere that felt solid when it was done. Lily was at school. Rachel made coffee. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I had put the hair tie down on a Thursday evening 4 months earlier. I put my hands around the coffee cup. Done, I said. Done, Rachel said. We sat there for a while. At some point, Rachel said, "What do you want to do now?" I thought about it. I want to go pick up Lily from school, and I want to take her for ice cream, and I want to tell her we're going to be okay. Are you? Rachel asked. Yes, I said. I actually think we are. I moved back into the house. Not immediately. Daniel had stayed there during the divorce proceedings at my insistence and with Patricia's guidance. I had stayed at Rachel's for the first month, in a rental for the following 3. But when the papers were signed and Daniel moved to an apartment in East Nashville, I moved back. Not because of the house itself, though I did love the house, had loved it from the moment we bought it, the specific thing of a place that felt like it had been waiting for you, but because it was Lily's house, her room, her drawings on the walls, the specific geography of the first 8 years of her life.
She was not going to be displaced from that because her parents' marriage had ended. She was going to come home. We moved back on a Saturday. Lily carried her own boxes, insisted on it, in the specific seriousness of an 8-year-old who wants to be useful and taken seriously. She arranged her room herself. She put her stuffed animals on the shelves in an order that was meaningful to her and that I did not question. When we were done, she stood in the middle of her room and looked around at it. "It's the same," she said. "It's the same," I agreed. "But different," she said. "A little," I said. She looked at me. "Is that okay?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Different can be okay." She thought about this for a moment, with the specific seriousness that she applies to things she is working out. "Okay," she said, and she went to arrange her bookshelf. Lily asked about the hair tie once, not immediately, weeks later, in the casual way that children revisit things, circling back to them when they have had time to let them settle. We were in the car, she was in the back seat, the same back seat, different car, I had bought a different car, and we were driving home from a school event. She said out of nowhere, "Mom, that pink hair tie I found in Daddy's car." I kept my eyes on the road. "Yes," I said. "Whose was it?" I had thought about this question. I had thought about it many times since the Thursday afternoon, knowing it might come, knowing that when it came I would need to be ready with something honest and age-appropriate, and neither more nor less than what she needed to know. "It belonged to someone Daddy knew," I said. "Why was it in his car?" "I don't know exactly. Some things are complicated, baby." She was quiet for a moment. "Is that why you and Daddy don't live together anymore?" 8 years old. "That's part of it, yes," I said. She thought about this. "Did it make you sad?" she asked. "Yes," I said, "for a while." "Are you still sad?" I thought about it honestly. "Sometimes," I said, "but mostly I feel okay, and I feel really glad I have you." She was quiet for another moment. Then she said, "I'm glad I have you too." She looked out the window. "Can we get tacos?" I said. "Yes, we can get tacos." We got tacos. Sophie and I have not spoken since the Saturday morning phone call. I do not know what happened between her and Daniel after everything ended. I do not know if they are still in contact, or what their family has made of what happened, or how Sophie's parents, Daniel's aunt and uncle, people I had known for 8 years of holidays and gatherings, have navigated it. I made a decision at some point in the months after the divorce that I was not going to spend my energy tracking any of it. Not because I had forgiven it. Forgiveness, whatever that means, and however long it takes, was not available to me yet on a timeline that matched the divorce, but because tracking it required me to keep looking backward, and I had a daughter who needed me looking forward. There were family events that became complicated. Daniel's extended family, his parents, his siblings, the various relatives who had been part of my life for 8 years. I had liked many of them, genuinely, and some of them reached out in the months after with the specific awkwardness of people who don't know how to be loyal to both sides of a fractured family. I made it easy for them. I told the ones who called that I wished them well, that I hoped we could be civil at the events that Lily attended, and that I was not going to make anyone choose. That was not my job, and it was not my interest. Most of them seemed relieved. Some of them, I think, were disappointed. I think they had been expecting a war, and what they got instead was a woman who had packed her bags on a Thursday evening and then quietly and methodically rebuilt her life. Wars are more dramatic. Rebuilding is more interesting in the long run. Lily started 3rd grade in August. She has a teacher named Miss Chen who she loves, with the specific intensity that children love their favorite teachers, completely and without reservation, in a way that makes every dinner table conversation eventually return to something Miss Chen said or did or has planned. She plays soccer on Saturdays.
She is not particularly talented at it, and she doesn't care. She runs after the ball with tremendous enthusiasm and is a generous passer, and the team seems to love having her, which is, I think, the correct outcome for 8-year-old soccer. She sees Daniel every other weekend and on Wednesdays for dinner. She comes home from these visits and tells me what they did, which I listen to carefully and respond to with the specific neutrality I have practiced. That sounds fun, and what did you have for dinner? The genuine interest of a mother in her daughter's time, regardless of who she spent it with. She has not mentioned Sophie. I do not know if she has seen her during the Daniel visits. I have not asked. That is Daniel's to navigate, and Sophie's, and ultimately Lily's, when she's old enough to navigate it herself. I have taken myself out of that particular equation. It is the right decision. I am almost entirely sure of it.
I found the hair tie again recently. Not the original. I had left it at Rachel's or thrown it away, or it had simply disappeared in the specific way of small objects. But I was cleaning out Lily's dresser drawer and I found one that looked like it. Pink elastic, this one without any hair in it. I held it for a moment. I thought about a Thursday afternoon, a back seat, an 8-year-old with my dark hair holding something out to me with a smile, asking a simple question, "Is it yours?" The answer to that question, in every sense that mattered, was no. The hair tie was not mine. The marriage, by then, was barely mine. The life I was living was, I understood in that moment, one I had been in but not fully choosing, not fully awake inside, not fully seeing. The hair tie woke me up. A small pink elastic, and the hand of my daughter, and a question she had no idea was the most important question anyone had asked me in years. I put the hair tie back in the drawer. Lily could use it. It was hers now. It has been 11 months. 11 months since Thursday. 11 months since a pink hair tie and a daughter's smile, and the specific crystallization of something I had not known I was about to understand. I am still in the house, still in Nashville, still in the same neighborhood, the same school district, the same grocery store, the same farmer's market on Saturday mornings that I have been going to since we moved here 3 years ago. I am not someone who runs from a place because a hard thing happened in it. The hard thing happened, it changed the shape of things, and the place itself, the neighborhood, the city, the specific quality of a Nashville spring evening when the redbuds are blooming along the streets, the place had nothing to do with it. I kept the place. I built something new inside it. I went back to work full-time. I had been working part-time, a graphic design practice I'd built over several years, client work I could do from home, the specific arrangement that had made sense when Lily was smaller and the shape of our life had a different structure. I went full-time in February. Not because I had to financially. The divorce settlement had been fair, and I had savings, and the house was mine. But because I had discovered in the months after Thursday that the specific absorption of real work, the kind that requires your full attention, that gives you a problem to solve and expects you to solve it, was the best thing available for the particular kind of grief that divorce is. Not grief exactly, something more like reorganization. The work gave me a container for it. I have 3 new clients I am proud of. I have a studio space. Small, a room in the house that used to be Daniel's office, and that I painted in February the specific shade of green that I had always wanted and that he had always found too bold. It is a very good green.
Rachel and I have lunch on Tuesdays. Not always the same place, we rotate. A diner near her office, the Thai place near my studio, the sandwich shop that Lily insists is the best sandwich shop in Nashville, which is an opinion she holds with great confidence. Last Tuesday, Rachel said, "You seem different." "Different how?" I said. "More like yourself," she said. "Like the version of you that was there before Daniel, before all of it. You seem more like that person." I thought about it. "I think I am," I said, "or something close to it, a newer version." "Is that good?" she asked. "Yes," I said.
I think it's very good. We ate our sandwiches. Outside, Nashville doing what Nashville does in October, warm still, the light shifting, the specific quality of a southern fall that is gentler than the falls I've seen in other places. Lily seems good too, Rachel said. She's great, I said, and I meant it without qualification. Lily was in the particular resilience of children who are loved consistently and whose lives have structure and whose parents have managed to be decent to each other despite everything, genuinely great. She asked me the other day if she could get a cat. I laughed. She asked me the same thing last week, I said. What did you say? I said maybe, I said. I'm leaning toward yes. Rachel smiled. Get her a cat, she said. She'd love it. I know, I said. That's exactly the problem. I have thought a lot about what I want to say about the hair tie. Not about Daniel or Sophie or the marriage. I have thought about all of those things too, in the natural course of processing something enormous, and I have arrived at places with all of them that feel settled enough to live with, even if they are not simple. But the hair tie specifically, the specific, benign, pink, elastic smallness of the thing that ended my marriage. I have thought about how it arrived, not through surveillance or confrontation or a carefully laid trap, not through the kind of methodical investigation that some of the stories I've heard involve, through a back seat, a curious child, a simple question. Is it yours? No, it was not mine. And in answering that question, in the moment of answering it, in the crystallization that arrived in the 10 seconds between the question and my response, I became the person who knew what it meant. There is a particular kind of truth that arrives not because you went looking for it, but because it found you, through a child's hand, through a question so simple it didn't know it was asking anything important, through a pink elastic with pale blonde hair. That kind of truth is, in my experience, the most complete kind, because you can't argue with it, you can't frame it differently, you can't decide it means something other than what it means. It simply is, and all you can do is decide what to do with it. I decided quickly. I packed a bag, I took my daughter, I drove away, and then I built something better on the other side of it. If you are waiting for the truth to arrive, if you are in a life that has the particular quality of a story that isn't adding up, that has details that don't fit, that asks you to explain things you cannot explain, the truth will find you, sometimes in the most ordinary places, in a back seat, in a child's hand, in a question so simple it breaks everything open. Be ready to answer it honestly, and then be ready to act. That is all. Thanks for listening.